Hey crafty friends, welcome to day 3 of this series of 12 cards of Christmas. Today we are making a 4 folds card. I really love this card. It really looks pretty and it has a great effect and it's really easy to make. So we start by folding in half 4 squares measuring 5¼ by 5¼ and then we'll have 4 other squares measuring 5 by 5. So you fold all these squares in half, and it's always good to use a bone folder to really burnish those folds because the entire concept of this card is the folds. So make sure you fold it very accurately and that you burnish your folds really well. It will be important for later as we add more layers and we need the folds to be really strong. So once you're done folding these 8 squares, we now need to glue them together. Basically, I've used green and red. Those are really traditional Christmas colors, but you can choose whatever colors that you want, and you can use pattern papers, cardstocks, pattern cardstocks, and not solids like I did. You can choose your own design for the papers. So just glue all those squares together and then fold them again just to make sure that the fold is still there and it's still burnished and it's still strong. Because after you glue down 2 layers of paper, sometimes the folds get a little out of place. So once we've done that, we need to cut a hole inside each of our squares. Now I'm using this old Colossal cutting board, but you can use whatever circle cutting system that you have, as long as the inner circle that you're cutting will measure 3½ inches. So all the squares will have the same size hole in them, which is 3½ inches, and you can use whatever, like I said, whatever circle cutting system that you have. It doesn't really matter. I don't know the different numbers of the different systems. This is why I've measured it, and it will be easier for you to know what is the size of the circle. Another thing that is very important is to do it in the center of the square. So if you need to use a ruler and measure where the center is exactly, then please do it, because we need all the circles or the holes to match, because later when we assemble the card we need all the holes to be in the same place, otherwise it will look crooked. So you only need to find the center of one square and then just use the first one that you cut as a template for the others. That will make it much easier and much faster for you to cut all the circles. So as you can see, I've already cut all 4 circles, and I've already cut 4 rings. The rings should be 1/4 inch wide, and the inside of the rings should measure 3½ inches because they need to go around the hole. This step is not necessary, it's an optional step. It just looks much nicer when you have that frame around the hole in the square. So it's up to you whether you want to do it or not. Again, you can use whatever system you have to cut the rings, whether it's a die cut or whatever other system that you have. Now I'm using those leftover circles. These are the circles that I cut from the squares to cut 2 green circles and 2 red circles. 2 circles would measure 2 5/8 of an inch, and the other circles would measure 2 1/8 of an inch. So one will be larger than the other, and then we'll glue them down together. This way, this is what's going to be in the center of our card. Now, I've made my green circle larger than the red, so the green circle measures 2 5/8 and the red one measures 2 1/8 of an inch, because I wanted the green to be in contrast with the red ring that is around the hole. Everything's going to make sense in just a second, but you can choose whatever colors that you want, and like I said, whatever patterns that you want for this inside circle. We are going to glue them together back to back, and this is what's going to be in the center, like I said, of the card. So it's really good idea to use whatever papers that you already have, in this case those circles that we don't need. So I'm gluing them together, one layer on top of the other, and I'm also going to add something on the top. Now again, I'm making sure that the folds are still nice and burnished, because remember I added those rings, so it's best to go and refold everything. Now you take one of the squares and you put some glue, liquid glue is the best for this, in the center where the fold lines are on the back side of the square. And then you attach a twine or a string to the square, nice and tight. And then once that's dry a little bit, you can trim the excess of that string very gently. Make sure the string is tight, and then we can start to assemble the card. You take another square and apply your glue on half of the square on the back side like this, and then we are going to attach it back to back to the first square like this, but only half of it, until from the edge to the fold line, and then align them together so they will be exactly at the same place. And then we repeat the process. We apply the glue on the back side of half of the square until the fold line, and then attach it to the card itself and align it with the edges. And then the last piece, repeat again and attach that to the card. And then finally you attach those two ends that are still not glued together. And as you can see, we have created sort of a cross that opens up to all four directions like this. Now we need to attach our circles to the string, but before that I just want to add the word joy, and I want both sides of my circle to be the same, but you can add different embellishments or words to the different sides of the circle. So each side will show something different. This is up to you. I'm writing joy on both sides. And we're going, like I said before, we're going to attach them back to back. So the circle is going to have both sides and it will turn inside the card. So you take your glue and apply it on the back side of the circle. Have enough glue, and then you actually need to attach it to the other back side of the second circle while the string or the twine is in between them. So you're creating sort of a sandwich, and just align the word on both sides. So basically you have a sandwich with the twine in the center between the two circles. Just align the circles and look how that turns. Isn't that pretty? I love this card. Really turned out really pretty and really great. It looks really cool when you put it on your shelf or your mantle or your uh, even your Christmas table. And it was much easier to create than you thought, right? It looks complicated, but it's much easier. So this is card number 3 in our 12 cards of Christmas series. Thank you very much for watching. Tune in daily because we have a new card every day in this series. And I hope you like this video, and I'll see you all tomorrow.